Welcome to Roses and Reactions.
Hi, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks since we saw ya.
It has. You want to explain what was up with that?
Well, we had that special. We had the
Leprechaun special, and then we didn't want to do another episode that week. So we made this compromise that we were just going to do it next week. Not much of a story, but that's what happened.
But we've had in mind this episode. We wanted to do it last month, but we couldn't. Last month was the 25th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
A show that I discovered actually without you, and I told you about it, and you're like, oh, you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer? So that was kind of a fun coincidence. But before we go in, I just think we should give a general checkup on everybody's lives about what we've been doing and stuff. I watched the new Fairly Odd Parents show because the Fairly Odd Parents is my childhood on Paramount Plus. Please don't go watch it. It's the worst thing I ever saw. I literally forgot what I was watching halfway through. The fairies are barely in it, and it made me want to kill myself. So that was fun. On a lighter note,
so this is a live action version of Fairly Odd Parents, not the cartoon.
Yeah. It doesn't need to exist. Anyway, I gave it a chance, and it was awful.
And Rachel is introducing me to a new. Well, it's not new, but it's an old anime, a classic anime. Called Berserk.
So prepare for a future show on that.
Yes.
Gonna have a lot to talk about there.
It's the 1997 one, I believe.
I think so, yes.
Yes. So, it was something I did not think I was going to like, and I have changed
took her to the dark side.
Changed my mind.
Oh,
hey, Terry.
Terry.
From Ireland.
I've lost count of how many times I've seen Buffy from start to finish. It is one of the absolute best. And I think we should bring up our thesis for this too. I think a lot of people have been saying online ever since the thing happened with the guy who's horrible that they have mixed feelings on the show now. Like you say, you've been seeing this a lot.
I have seen a lot of things because of that person who created the show.
Awful.
A lot of allegations have come out, a lot of stories. Some of them I had heard about a while back from Charisma Carpenter herself had mentioned these some of this stuff when she was doing conventions a few years ago. But there's been more detail into it. But we just want to get this person out of the way for a moment because we're not here to talk about the person. We're here to talk about a incredible series that has been a part of my life and her life.
And that I honestly don't think you should be having mixed feelings on, in my personal opinion, because yes, what he did was awful. However, to say that, I'm going to basically undermine the show now because of the creator is a horrible, awful human being, it's kind of disrespectful to everybody else involved in making it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many people who were a part of the series that made it the fantastic classic that it is.
Just because the creator of something is horrible doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy their work.
So we've gotten that out of the way. So we know that there's a lot of opinions on this, but that's just our opinion on it. So we're gonna get into
the show. Season 1, the not very good one, but we still love it.
Hey, if it wasn't for the movie, we wouldn't even have this. So let's briefly talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, which I saw it after I started watching Buffy the
It's bad.
So
I was like, there's a movie? What's this? It's bad.
Well, some people like the movie, but
they are entitled to their opinion, but they're wrong.
It's got more of a comic kind of flair to it. It's
not very funny.
But the movie starred Christy Swanson and a lot of great actors. So that was the starting point for the show, and the show wouldn't have been made without the movie. So we have to give the movie.
I will acknowledge the movie.
It's
there. I did it.
So Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I believe it came out on UPN originally, March 10th, 1997. And that means it was a mid-season. It was a mid-season replacement show, and there was 12 episodes to begin with. And the first episode is "Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest." It was a two-parter, and I think it has a pretty solid opening.
I agree with that. I think it has a pretty darn good season premiere, pretty good opening scene. It opens with the role reversal, sort of the whole damsel in distress with a guy and a woman breaking in to a school building, and the guy's like, oh no, everything's fine, and the woman's like, oh, maybe we should be worried, and you're thinking, okay, it's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he's going to be a vampire killer. It turns out that she's the vampire and she kills him. So I really like that. That basically shows you what this show is going to be. It's not going to be your typical monster story.
They're going to turn it on its head, that's for sure. And so that's basically how it opens up. And we actually have an interview from David Boreanaz, who basically puts the first season more or less in context and introduces the characters. So why don't we go ahead and play that interview, right? Yep. That we've got.
It's about this young girl who is in high school, and she goes to high school during the day, and at nighttime she fights demons, vampires that lurk through the evening hours. Along with her are her friends Xander.
This is back.
Cordelia,
this show came out in '97, right?
Willow. Yep. And Giles, the librarian, who is the watcher of all the crazy demons that are coming her way.
I make
He's so good.
allowances for your youth, but I expect a certain amount of
Well,
responsibility.
he's kind of wrong. Like, he's a watcher of demons coming her way. Oh.
Cult?
This show is new
Like
at the
the
time,
color?
so we can forget
So
him.
it's thrilling, it's exciting, adventurous, and you never know what's behind the next corner.
Why are you following me?
I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. I don't bite.
Angel is a 242-year-old vampire.
Why you go to
Conscious.
spoil?
He was a bit of an aristocrat in his early years. He was bit by a vampire named Darla, who at the
Darla's
time
really
promised to show
opening
him
scene.
anything that he wanted to see through different eyes.
Last time I saw you was kimonos.
And last time I saw you, it wasn't high school girls. Don't you like?
And he was bitten and turned into a vampire, and his world changed, and he became a very vicious, evil vampire.
For 100 years, I offered an ugly death to everyone I met. And I did it with a song in my heart.
One day, he killed the wrong girl.
Gypsies. The elders conjured the perfect punishment for me. They restored my soul.
What, they were all out of boils and blinding torment?
When you become a vampire, the demon takes your body, but it doesn't get your soul.
They both understand that Buffy is a vampire slayer, and she doesn't have a normal life. And Angel is basically the same way, trapped under his own conscience, and has powers that he doesn't quite understand yet, and was given back his conscience. So there's that link of that love, that understanding, a vampire in love with a vampire slayer.
You know, that brings up something I was constantly, when I was watching this show, that was constantly, and this is the better Twilight. This was the original and way better Twilight. Like, I'm talking about human vampire romance, not just with Buffy and Angel, but with the real OTP of the show. Fighting.
You know what? That reminds me of this great video that came out years ago that a college student made that had Buffy versus Edward. Do you remember? Did I ever
no,
show you?
Not.
I need to show you Buffy versus Edward. It is epic. I don't know if it's still on YouTube or not, but this girl actually did it as a school project, and where she edits in, but there's scenes from Buffy and scenes from Twilight together. So if you've ever seen that, let us know, and let us know what you think of it, because I thought it was pretty awesome. I need to show you that. I can't believe you've never seen it.
Like, we're doing a Buffy show. You should have shown me this before so we could talk about it. But
so we're going to briefly go through each season and talk about some highlights of some episodes that we liked or we didn't like. And
there's only one that I didn't like.
Yeah. With season 1, you get the introduction of the characters. There's only 12 episodes. And the first couple deal with, of course, vampires. But then the third episode is a little bit different. You want to talk about
the witch? It's one of the few. Edward would die. I'm sorry, Jerome. Edward would die. Thank you. I needed that right now.
Spoilers. Go watch the video. It's worth 10 minutes of your time. It's incredible.
Okay. Anyway, witch. I don't like a lot of episodes from season 1. I like the premiere. I like Witch. This one I like Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I like Angel, and I guess I like half of them. And I like the finale, Prophecy Girl. The rest are kind of not very good to me. But the Witch is an episode about Buffy dealing with a witch, and it introduces the concept of witches in this world. And I find the whole concept of a mom trying to basically live through her daughter extremely relatable because I know people who have parents like that. You know people who have parents like that.
I do.
And it sort of like starts the theme of Buffy taking these concepts, taking supernatural concepts, and adding, like, making them a metaphor for real life things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, so The Witch was a pretty good episode. We do have a clip from Never Kill the Boy on the First Date because I want to talk a bit about Cordelia for a minute, which is played by Charisma Carpenter. What she just does a wonderful job.
Oh, I loved Cordelia.
She starts off as like kind of like the
stereotypical Valley Girl bully character.
Yeah, and yeah,
until she's developed more throughout the season. But I love Cordelia. Cordelia is the kind of woman I wish I could be.
But let's go ahead and play a clip from
Yeah.
the early Cordelia moment.
You want something to eat?
Sure. Just make it something fattening. What a disgusting display. Is that really appropriate behavior in a public forum? I mean, I've never seen a girl throw herself at a guy like that. Ah. Ooh. Hello, salty goodness. Pick up the phone, call 911. That boy is gonna need some serious oxygen after I'm through with him.
Buffy.
Angel. Why is this happening to me?
I love Cordelia. One of my favorite quotes, I don't remember the exact episode, but, and I'm sorry, she did the clips this time, by the way. So if you have any complaints about Rochelle and not Rochelle, blame her. But there's one of my favorite Cordelia quote, is they're like, I think it's Xander who's like, you just need to have a little more tact. And Cordelia's like, tact is just not saying true stuff, which is sort of the motto I live by when that I wish I could live by when I'm talking to people.
Actually,
that's the conversation that happens in my brain.
This came up in an actual conversation this week on Facebook about you.
Really?
Yes. I had posted once again this story about how we went to Easter brunch when you were little and Chris was small. And we sat there, and do you even remember what happened?
No, I do not.
We went to I tell the story. I share this story
every Easter mascot guy.
Yes.
That I was terrified of.
Yeah. So we're there at the Easter brunch, okay, and she's like, that's a guy in a suit. She's like, that isn't the Easter bunny. She's like, I can see the zipper, and she's like saying it so loud.
I do remember this.
And we paid, I paid like $40 a plate for this. This is the one and only Easter brunch I ever went to because I was like so humiliated. Anyway, so every year I share the story. Well, two of her friends, best friends from junior high school, popped in on my little conversation saying, you know what we like about Rachel is that she just tells it like it is, that she doesn't hold back. And they're like, true that. That's what we like about her. So that's my Facebook story for this week about you. So you are a little, you are a little bit Cordelia, okay?
I would say I have to get back on Facebook to see all of this myself, but considering last time I was on there, I got Facebook jailed for no reason. I'm kind of reluctant. But anyway, moving on. So I love Cordelia is the moral of the thing, and I think that transitions. Oh wait. I wish we could transition it, but there's an episode that calls it 4 out of sight, out of mind. Angel, the other good plot-related episode, where we find out Angel is a vampire. Which would be a pretty huge shock to the audience if they didn't spoil it in, like, interviews and previews.
Yeah.
And everything. So, like, can people stop spoiling stuff, like, in trailers that are supposed to be twists in the show itself? Like, I've seen this happen multiple. Remember the Pet Sematary trailer?
Oh yeah, that's the new Pet Sematary trailer where they just spoil the
entire movie.
Yeah, basically. So we find out Angel's a vampire, and I think that's where Buffy finds out Angel's a vampire.
Yeah.
So there's that. The whole thing about the first season is that
it's not very good. I mean,
the overall story is that there's the master who's the big bad.
Who?
And they call every year, every season, there's a big bad. And so the big bad is the master.
Pretty weak. Time. I mean, he's not really a character.
But so basically they're trying to find a way to defeat the master. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. But before we get to the final episode of this season, I just
one that convinced me to keep watching because I was going to drop this show, not going to lie, because the whole episode, the Monster of the Week stuff was not doing it for me at all. But the last 2 episodes were so good that I decided to keep watching.
I just want to do a quick shout out, and can you pull up that photo for me?
Of course. Here we go, guys. It's happening again. It's like with the Leprechaun show. We gotta bring it up.
So does anybody know who that is? That is a young actress who's now a director.
I don't care. I don't care about all this stuff. I might be in the minority on this, and like all of our viewers, but I really don't care. But go ahead.
The name of this episode is Out of Mind, Out of Sight. It's about a girl who basically becomes invisible because she's ignored.
And I feel that though.
And it's played by a very young Clea Duvall, who's one of my favorite actresses.
Every actress is your favorite actress, it seems like.
Yeah, but she was in that movie.
That movie that I liked, the one with the thing.
The cheerlead movie, but I'm a cheerleader. She plays the second lead in that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I'm a cheerleader?
Oh,
I liked But I'm a Cheerleader.
Yes.
I don't know the actress.
Natasha Leone, I think her name is. Anyway, I like Clea Duvall a lot. So I just wanted to give a shout out to young Clea Duvall from season 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who is only in that one episode. And which takes us to the final. That's the second to the last episode.
We are bringing up Out of Mind just to bring up Clea Duvall. That's not the reason why I said I like the episode.
But why?
I'm not you. I don't. There can't be just an actress that I like in it, and I automatically like the stuff. No. I brought this up because this is the episode where Cordelia is expanded on a little more from just being the stereotypical bully character. She has this really good conversation with Buffy where she talks about loneliness and how even though she's surrounded by people, she still feels lonely. Because they don't listen to a word she says. And Buffy's like, well, then why do you care so much about being popular? And she's like, oh, it's better than being lonely all by myself, which honestly, I feel that. This whole episode is about loneliness and
feeling like you're not seen.
Feeling like you're not seen. And I related to that on a personal level. So I really like this episode. Not for Clea Duvall.
Well, she's a plus.
Jeez. You try to end this. I like stuff like this though. I don't care about actors, but I sat out of my sight. Sorry, was moved around an episode.
Oh, you're thinking of Earshot, Terry, and we'll get to that. That's season 3. Yep, that did happen, but not that episode.
Because she remembers personally being attacked, not attacked, but mentally attacked by that.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that story. So let's go to
episode. Giles. I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die. The line that made Rachel keep watching the show because that is such a good line. One of the best lines I've heard in a while. I'm like, okay, I see you, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'll keep watching you. So this episode, Buffy finds out that she's prophesied to die while fighting the Master. And this is a normal thing because Slayers typically die very, very young.
Yes. Yep. I thought we had pictures. She went through and deleted pictures
Here's the Master. He looks like the Leprechaun reboot from Leprechaun Origins. So let's get him off my screen.
There's Prophecy Girl. I see it.
Here.
There we go.
There we go. What a great episode.
So Buffy did die.
But she came back. But she was only kind of.
Yeah. Did
she's
Xander
only mostly dead?
Did Xander give her CPR?
Yeah, Xander. Because I completely forgot that Xander had a crush on her in the first season. Wow.
Yeah.
That's how far this show comes. You completely forget about stuff like that. Wow. And basically, she dies, but she's only mostly dead. So she comes back and she kills the Master, all while wearing this beautiful, beautiful prom dress. And it's just fantastic. I think it's prom, right? Or is it just a generic school dance?
I don't remember if it's a prom or school dance, but it's a beautiful dress. And
it's just a great episode.
So...
Oh, Terry's calling you out.
Oh, Terry's calling me out?
Yeah, he's saying that. Oh, wait, Teresa's calling you out.
Teresa's saying it's in the episode Earshot. Yep.
Okay. I thought she was calling us out and saying that you were wrong. But no, Teresa agrees with us. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. So
that is the end of season 1.
a prom. Thank you, Jerome. You coming in with your random knowledge, is all your random screen facts knowledge. You always coming to save the day. Thank you very much. So I decided to keep watching after that, and then we get one of the best episodes about PTSD for the beginning, When She Was Bad, which is also a fantastic episode. Like, wow, you don't remember it at all, do you?
I do remember it briefly. It's I mean, it was a long time ago. I've watched these episodes. I used to try to watch these episodes every year, but I just haven't had a chance to. And so it's Mark is on.
Mark is on.
Let's ask him.
Oh, he's saying no. Okay.
Okay.
No, this never happened. Cut it out.
Okay.
Mark that from the record. Moving on. So, When She Was Bad is a great episode. Buffy comes back to Summerdale because she died out. Sunnydale. Oh, God. You got it in my head now. I'll never forgive you. But to Sunnydale, because she just pieced out for a bit. The whole master thing kind of, dying and all that kind of. Because she kind of got affected by that. So she comes back to Sunnydale, but she's a little different now. She keeps having visions about the master, and she's kind of being a jerk to her friends. She's like playing Xander on, who still has a crush on her at this point. She's like leading him on. She's being a jerk to Angel. She's being a jerk to Willow. And it comes out that she's doing all this because she's really impacted by what happened with the master. So I think it's a good idea. What the heck am I saying? It's a good idea. I was distracted by our background going away. It was a very good plot line, is what I meant to say.
So, yes. So that was the opening for season 1, which was aired on September 15th, 1997. So this season has 22 episodes.
It got a little bulked up. The last season only had 12, so we got a little budgeted up.
And we get some really good new big bad characters. So with the master being dead, there's 2 new people who enter the scene, and that is Drusilla and Spike.
Yeah, I'm a little distracted. Yeah, Drusilla and Spike, who you don't have pictures of because you're a sadist. She also did the pictures for this episode. But Spike, oh boy, for a teenage. Okay, I'm gonna put you in this perspective. I'm a teenage girl watching this show for the first time. Here comes this badass vampire with a leather jacket, and he has a British accent, and he's good to his woman. Excuse me? So there you go. There's another one of Rachel's random TV crushes. And I still love Spike to this day. He's my favorite character in the show. And
he's really evil in this season, though.
He is really evil in this season, but he gets character development, so it's okay. I actually have a point to bring up about Spike later on the line when we discuss it. When we get to the point that people are, because I know a lot of people are mixed on his character for a certain thing that's happening. For certain thing that happens, so when that comes up, we'll discuss it. But oh my god, what a better villains than the Master! Oh my god, and they're not even the main villains of the entire season.
No, they're not.
We'll get to that when we get to that. But oh my gosh,
so
he has a personality. Like compared to the Master, it's like oh my gosh, he has a personality. So automatically, like during School Hard, I was like, when I watched it for the first time, I was like, please don't let this be a one-off vampire. Please don't let this be a one-off vampire. Please don't let this be a one-off vampire.
To those who don't know, Spike is played by James Marsters.
Oh, I know his name.
And Drusilla is her last name is Landau. I can't remember what her first name is right now, but she's the daughter of Martin Landau and Barbara Bain. So just to let you know. So I just wanted to bring that up. And they were both introduced in School Hard, which was episode number 3.
Yeah, and they kill off, I almost forgot. At the end of the episode, they kill off the awful little boy who we thought was going to be the main bad guy. I'm like, he's boring too. He's as boring as the Master. So Spike comes in and says, nah, we're done with this boring shit. Kills him off and becomes the new big bad temporarily for the season until the real one is introduced. And it is just fantastic. Immediately endearing myself to this season.
Oh, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you for updating the background.
We appreciate it.
That's what was going on with the background, if you want to know, by the way. Paid no attention to the mark behind the curtain. But anyway, moving on. So School Hard happened, and Rachel discovered stuff about herself as a teenager from Spike. So that was great. But moving on to next episode we want to discuss, which is...
We're going to talk about Halloween briefly.
I know a little, actually, trivia about myself for this episode.
Okay, go ahead. Share it.
And it has something a little to do with the guy who shall not be named, but still. So I don't remember the writer's name for this episode, but I do remember that this was his only episode of Buffy that he wrote. He wrote this episode, then he went to the awful, awful person who created the show, ready for his next assignment, and he just got fired. Like, apparently, that person, who I don't even want to bring up, thought the episode was so bad that he didn't give the guy another chance to be a writer, which I think is ironic because there are so many worse episodes of this show.
Yeah, this episode
I like
isn't
this
bad at all.
episode.
It's like they're all in a whatever costume they're in, they turn into that person. So so they become the character. So, and it also brought up Ethan Rain, which is like a bad guy
from Giles's past.
And he comes back and forth throughout the show. So, I mean, it was kind of an important episode. So, but I didn't know that the writer had been fired. That's kind of sad. Juliet Landau, thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry.
And I feel really bad about it because she's like so cool on Twitter. If you're ever one of her Twitter followers, she actually answers you back sometimes, and that's pretty cool. Thank you very much.
I always find it cool when actors do that. So Halloween, I wanted to bring up that fun fact. I'm tired of you bringing up all the fun facts about like production and shit. Well, no, it's really just actors, but still. So I wanted to bring up something that I learned from the amazing, I'm trying to remember the channel name. Oh, goodness, help me out. Passion of the Nerd on YouTube, who goes through every Buffy and Angel episode by episode, and like dissects like the meaning of them. He's great. I love him. Had to shout him out because he's just fantastic and has been doing this for like 5 years now. So that kind of dedication.
I didn't even know about that. That's pretty cool.
You should check him out. I think you accidentally saw one of his videos when you talked about the Buffy awful HD remakes.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Oh, by the way, if you ever watch the show and you haven't already, do not watch the HD remakes. They are so bad. They try to bring the show that was made for 4x3 into widescreen, and it is atrocious. You can see the camera people. They also make everybody look like porcelain dolls. It's horrible. Watch the show originally, even if it's not in HD. Jesus. Like, it's really bad. I don't remember how. Jerome, you want to fill us in? Because I'm trying to think about how. I like ran through it in my head.
I think that they bring up. Well, I think he comes back. What's his name? Ethan Ram.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, Jerome, please, we need you.
So
Terry, you know about Passion of the Nerd. Thank you. I'm not the only one. Good. Other people are watching his stuff. That's good. That's good. So all we're waiting on Jerome to spread his knowledge. I think we'll move on to Lie to Me, the one of up until season 6, one of the most depressing episodes.
It's a depressing.
This one would fit in right in with season 6 in terms of tone, because oh boy. So this one I want to talk about briefly.
Okay. All right.
Because how it affected me. So one of Buffy's friends from her past comes back in, and he is dying of cancer, and he wants to become a vampire because he is dying. And Buffy gives a speech in this episode that's saying, because he's like, I have no choice, and he's like, you do have a choice. It's an awful choice, but it's still a choice. And that hit me, and then it hit me again, because he becomes a vampire and she kills him. She's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You want to give the end of the episode?
So at the end of the episode, she's
standing by the grave of this guy.
Yeah, and she's there with Giles, her mentor, her watcher, and she basically tells Giles to lie to her that things get better.
Jerome coming in clutch with Xander and missiles. Yeah, remember he had his costume. He was playing.
Oh, that's
right. Thank you, Jerome. Once again, you come in clutch with that knowledge that we're lacking. But yeah, so that Lie to Me was a fantastic episode of the show.
Yeah, very dark.
And so far this season has just been knocking me out of the park, because sure, there's been some awful filler episodes here and there, but wow. Like, in terms, like, compared to last season, it's like night and day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The writing is so on
Which
point.
makes me so thankful that this didn't come out in the modern age, because this comes out today. It gets 12 episodes and canceled.
Yeah. It's
so
it's like
thank goodness
2 years between seasons. And it's like, what, Buffy? Who? Because that's basically what happens now on television. Mm-hmm. It's just like too long between seasons, and then you forget about it.
Jerome comes back to expand on his knowledge. Xander, Xander, I remember this now. Like, as soon as you brought up Xander and missiles, I'm like, yeah, Xander remembers where the missiles are and how to use them because he was the soldier. Once again, Jerome, praise be to him and his knowledge on TV shows and movies.
So we're going to go to the first two-parter. Well, no, actually, the Hellmouth and the Harvest were
the first two-parter.
But
the second two-parter.
This is the first two-parter of season 2. And what's my line? Part 1 and 2.
Where Kendra's introduced, and boy, do I have some thoughts on Kendra. I forget, was the accent? She was told to do the awful accent, right?
Yeah, I get. It was like British or what was it?
No, I think I don't want to.
Okay.
It was bad. Okay.
So what happens is, because Buffy died for a brief second.
Now this is so cool, and I didn't even think about this. Is so cool.
Buffy actually died in Prophecy Girl, because that was the prophecy. So she was dead for.
And when a Slayer dies, another Slayer is called in. So that was so cool, like that they brought that up and that they remembered that and that they use it, and that'll come way back in season. Well, not way back, but in season 3 to introduce your character, your favorite character.
Well, one of my favorite characters, but yeah.
The judge. Who's that?
The judge.
You don't remember from this. You don't remember this episode.
I don't.
You fool!
Isn't the judge a really big, giant vampire?
I know he's not I don't think he's a vampire. He basically, if you have any sort of humanity, he deletes you from the world. I remember this. This is the episode where they were going to kill off Spike.
Oh, yeah. Spike was supposed to be killed off.
We got another story roasting the one who shall not be named. Because James Marsters brought this up in a podcast. Go ahead. You saw this podcast.
I saw this podcast. Okay.
So
there was a podcast not too long ago, and it is, oh, shoot. I can't remember the name of it.
The guy who plays Lex Luthor from Smallville.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum has an awesome podcast. So if you ever get to check it out, please do. He does these massive in-depth interviews with actors, and recently he did with James Marsters. And there was talk about that person, and apparently Spike was supposed to get killed off. He was supposed to die because this show, Buffy, was an allegory of being a teenager and going through and dealing with teenage stuff, and Spike was like one of those challenges, supposedly. So but the network loved James Marsters'
character. As they should.
They loved Spike. So they did not want him to be killed off. So they were sending notes to him, do not kill this guy off. And so it made this person angry. And he throws James Marsters up against the wall and says, I don't care if they like you. You're dead. You hear me? You're dead. And Michael Rosenbaum asks James Marsters, he's like, well, he was kidding, right? And James Marsters was like, no, he was not kidding.
So not only is he a loser who fat shames women, but he's also a loser who physically assaults people over their characters.
But apparently, the network won because Spike was around till the end game and over on Angel too. So that, James Marsters had staying power, and the people said more Spike.
Yes, they should. I think I might have been one of these producers.
so that is a story. So yeah, and so he did not end up dying.
He did get wheelchair. He did end up in a wheelchair for like the rest of the season. So that's great. And then we get 2 more filler episodes I don't want to talk about because they're bad. And then we get Surprise Part 1 and 2.
Well, Surprise is part 1 of 2, and the second episode is called Innocent.
Oh, yes.
This is very, very,
Ooh, okay. This is where the series is like,
this is where
you have my curiosity, and now you have my attention.
This is the great thing about this show, is how it turns stuff on its head and changes stuff around.
And can we just praise, before we even get into it, It's David Boreanaz, right?
Boreanaz.
Boreanaz. I was so close. I can't do actors' names. His acting, because how he can just switch on a dime. Because the big bad of this season is Angel, because he had sex with Buffy, and that's, if you haven't seen the show, you're like, what? Okay, you might want to explain the thing.
Okay, so the whole thing is that if he's cursed, okay? So if he falls in love and has, carnals with somebody, he loses his soul again. And that's what happens. He loses his soul and he becomes evil again. He becomes the vampire Angelus after having sex with Buffy. So
because he had one night of he was in his most passionate moment.
Yep.
And passion of the nerd. Like, I want to get back to him. It, like, brings up like how kind of vague this statement was, because that's part of the gypsy curse. He has one moment of like where he's like in pure euphoria, he'll turn back to Angelus, and he's like, well, what are the limitations on that? Like, if Angel gets really into football and his team like wins the Super Bowl, does that mean when he's celebrating, does that mean he's going to turn back into Angelus?
I think it has to do with a little bit of carnal knowledge there.
Well, they don't explicitly say it, so I just find that funny. One moment of true happiness. I forget the exact wording. Thank you, Terry. So that is, yes, and Angelus just rocks it for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. He becomes Mr. Steal Your Girl with Spike.
Yep.
With Drew, and Spike is that comes back in the finale when we get there. Phases. This reminds me, we haven't brought up Oz.
No, we haven't.
Oh, bring in Rachel's heartthrob of this show. I have a lot of heartthrobs in the show. Number 2, Oz. Oh my gosh. So teenage Rachel, going back to teenage Rachel, watching this show. She had a thing with Spike. He's your bad boy. And then Oz come in. He's a hipster with red curly hair. Oh, great. And he has a thing with Willow. We haven't brought up Willow. How have we gone this long without bringing up your favorite character?
I don't know. We're just trying to speed run this, and so I mean, Willow has like a big part later on. So, but Willow is Buffy's best friend, okay? And she starts off, she's
starts off as the shy, nerdy girl.
Yeah, so she's the shy, nerdy girl who ends up becoming a very powerful witch towards the end of the series. And her character development is probably one of the most thorough and thought out and done throughout that entire series. Do you think her character is probably the most developed?
You got me. I feel like if I say I honestly think Spike has the most development, I'm gonna feel like I'm a stan. I feel like people are gonna think I'm construed as biased and that I'm too much of a stan. So I'm gonna say Willow does have a lot of development, and I feel like I'm in a no-win situation. You put me in a no-win situation because I'm like, oh, it's Spike. I've already admitted that I have a crush on the guy and that I am a fan. I'm a huge fan.
To say that.
So now if I say it, I look like I'm just standing him.
You know, I'll give it to you that he does have a lot of character development, but I think out of all of them, Willow had the most.
Out of the originals, I'll give you that, Willow. I'll give you that. Out of the original,
fair enough.
True.
Okay, so basically, we were talking about the episode phases, which was it was different. Because you just had this really deep, dark stuff about him becoming Angelus, yeah. And then we get this episode about
werewolves.
Yeah, so Oz is a werewolf, and we find out that he's a werewolf in this episode phase.
And that will come back to be one of the most break Rachel's heart moments ever, because he ended up being a werewolf. So that's great.
So, but it's kind of cool at the same time because they hadn't really. I don't think they've had I don't even know if they've done a wolf episode before. Now they did the hyena one. The pack, which Rachel hates that episode.
Stop bringing the stuff up. Okay. Stop bringing the bad stuff.
But I don't think they did a werewolf episode before Oz. I think Oz is the first werewolf on the show. Which
Jacob, get that trash out of here. Oz. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about teen heartthrobs that all the teenage girls are after? They need to know who Oz is.
Yeah, he was in a band.
And this isn't
too.
even, listen, I mentioned that there's a lot of guys in the show that I had a crush on, but we're not even done, guys. We're not even done. He's number 2.
Okay,
He's
so
number 2.
so now after phases, we go to Bewitched, Bothered, and
Oh,
Bewildered.
the one where Xander becomes everyone's least favorite character for an episode. Because this is after, I believe this is after the breakup. Oh,
Yeah, okay,
No,
so-
no, not the big breakup. This was, she temporary. This is the one Harmony is introduced in.
Okay.
Harmony, who is one of my favorite minor characters of the series, and we'll get to her later. Cordelia is started dating Xander at this point. I believe she started in What's My Line. And she dumps him because of popularity and clout, which actually, I've been to high school. Yes, this stuff does happen. So Xander decides to get revenge on her. He's gonna cast the spell. I think the original intention of the spell was just to make her like him again, so he could break it off with her. Which scumbag move, bro. Like what she did was scummy, but like I don't know. Manipulating people's emotions, no. So instead, he makes the entire school, except for Cordelia, fall in love with him. And I hate plots like this. Can I like go in real quick?
Sure.
Love potion stories are so gross to me because instead of saying love potion, it's just a fancy way of saying date rape drug. I'm sorry, but it's true. You're making women like you and attracted to you without your consent. Awful.
This is why you wanted to bring up this episode?
I wanted to bring up this episode because of Harmony, and then I remembered how much I hate plots like this because they're horrible, and we need to stop doing them.
Okay. Well,
Well, you got something to say?
There's that.
You disagree?
No, I really didn't care about this episode one way or the other because we get to something very, very deep and very heartbreaking in the next episode after that one.
All right.
Oh.
Terry says Nicholas Brandon was who is Nicholas Brandon? I can't.
He's the one who plays Xander.
You see my level. I know James Marsters, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know. I'm not else.
She's not good with actor names, but Nicholas Brandon is. I really like.
He
him.
was
He's
good.
he's
I'll give you this. His acting was fantastic in this episode.
Yeah.
There you go. There's some positive. There's some positive.
He has some really great moments throughout the series. He
Mhm.
really does.
You know what? I think I would, but staying on this episode a bit, now that I'm here, I didn't have these opinions on Love Potion stuff when I first watched the series because you're teenagers, you're not thinking about this stuff. So I think, ironically, this little filler episode in the middle of the season is the one that I have changed my opinion most on throughout the entire show.
Okay.
So there, that's a little fun thing to bring up. Weird, but fun. But okay. And then passion happens, and I want to kill myself.
So
Jenny Calendar is a character we also have failed to bring up. She's Giles' love interest, and you're all like, "Oh, good for Giles." They both like history. They're both into like supernatural
she
stuff.
knows witchcraft.
Oh yeah, we love Jenny, and then she dies,
Yeah.
and then Angelus kills her,
Yeah.
which is used as a plot point for getting Buffy to be like, "Yeah, Angel needs to die," because she's been pretty reluctant up until this point.
Ooh.
Which is a better conflict than anything that ever happened in Twilight ever. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, you agree with that? Did I get you to say it?
I think you did. Yeah.
I did it. Okay.
Oh, here's a picture from Passion. There we go.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God!
so-
the ending of the episode. Why would
This
you
is- this
remind me?
This is so brutal. Okay, we have to
Oh
talk
my
about it. We have to talk
God.
about the brutal ending of Passion. Okay. So,
okay.
Angelus kills Jenny Calendar. Okay, and because he's so cruel, he.
Oh wait, Mara. Yeah. How about we just talk about Johnny Quest instead? We don't need to talk about. We don't need to talk about this.
Okay. So
wait, Johnny Quest moment.
So to get back at Giles, because he, Angelus hates everybody. He put Giles. He
did it
there's like roses all around the place, and he picks up the rose and he goes into the bedroom, and there's his girlfriend dead on the bed.
I don't think he did it because he hates everyone. I honestly think he was the mindset of it's just a prank, bro. I don't think Angelus hates anyone or just cares about anything.
It's cruel. What he did was so cruel. And that was your heart breaks at the end of this episode seeing this scene.
And you know what? Now I need to lighten it up by saying now that that's got me just the prank bro thing has got me. Giles is the kind of awful YouTuber, not Giles. Angelus is the type of awful YouTuber who would do like throwing acid in guy's face prank, pretending to kill myself in front of my girlfriend prank. Stuff that isn't pranks. That's the type of person Angelus is. I said this for me, so I can move on. Okay.
Okay, so we'll go on by talking about the episode that you hate the most in the
Oh
series.
yeah, Go Fish is awful. Moving on. It has no value. You can skip it. Nothing matters. It feels like this should have been like early season 1. It's disgusting. It's gross.
It
There's
probably
no
was, you know what?
value.
It probably was a season 1 episode that they didn't get to use it. For
Then why
season
would they
1.
bring it back?
Because they probably needed filler. So it's more.
I would have been. Nobody would have complained if they just had one.
So
episode
tell
for it.
tell
I'm
me
not-
what is the Go Fish story?
The Go Fish story is about fish people. It's awful. Moving on.
Yeah, it's about Xander joining the swim team and
Nope.
people start to become fish.
It's
I
awful.
think so. I think.
I
And
hate it.
surprisingly,
It's
that
trash.
is the episode before the big 2-parter.
Yeah. Well, okay. Explain to me why this trash had to precede the big finale.
Because they needed it. They needed an episode.
Why you
to
put
fill
it up
in.
there? Put it in with Inca Mummy Girl and Reptile Boy. Why is this the last time we had Out of Sight, Out of Mind?
Yes. Yeah, we had Out of Sight, Out of Mind right before the big.
Well, I
ending.
never thought I would say season 1 was better than season 2 at anything.
But
But hey,
so
it's awful. It's trash. I hate it. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, listen. This is the moment. Jenny Calendar's murder is the moment where the audience and me as a viewer went from, oh, I'm with Buffy, we can't kill Angel, to, yeah, we probably gotta kill Angel. Like, that's disgusting. But it's Angelus, not Angel, right? I have a... This is me setting up for something later. We can't... Angel and Angelus are separate characters, right? So we can't... Because Angelus is Angel without a soul. So we can't blame Angel for stuff that Angelus does, right?
Well, it's the same body.
Yeah, it is. But
Same
what is
person.
the...
One has a soul and one doesn't. So it's the same person.
But
Just,
it is. But the common consensus is that they're two different, and we can't blame the actions of one on the actions of another, right?
oh, okay. All right.
But say it. Say the words.
We can't blame the
Did
actions.
I say this is the common consensus in the fandom?
Okay. This is the common consensus
no.
in the fandom.
I just said fandom. DC fandom. Don't come at us. But yeah, I'm bringing this back because I got some hypocrisy to bring up later in this fandom. So, moving on to season 3.
Whoa, we didn't.
Oh,
finish up.
becoming. Oh, I think I was trying to
Back
skip.
it up. Back it up. We have a clip. We have a heartbreaking clip, and we have to set it up. Okay.
Okay.
Becoming part 1 and 2
Oh my
is the
God.
season finale of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's considered probably the best ending. Best when I say
No.
like in Star Trek TNG, you've got the best of both worlds. Part 1 and 2, and because for Buffy fans, this is probably the one, because it's epic. It's a kind of an epic ending. Okay,
I like the gift better.
So, okay, we'll talk about that in a couple
You're
of seasons.
incorrect.
Okay.
Anyway,
so the whole thing is they're out to kill. They have to kill Angel and Jealous. They're
and Willow's working on a spell.
and Willow's working on a spell to get
Oh, she's a witch, by the way.
Angel's soul back.
That won't ever come back and have any negative consequences later. I'm sure it's just a quirky thing that's part of her character now.
So they all get attacked. Kendra gets killed. And they're trying to get, Willow's trying to work on a spell to get Angel's soul back. Okay. But Buffy is at this crisis point where she's right there to kill Angelus. And right before that happens, Willow's spell works.
So we're cool now, right? Everything is great.
Buffy realizes what has happened, and she realizes she thinks she
We're
needs
cool now, right?
she has to finish off what she started.
We're cool now, right? Everything can be happy.
So we get this clip.
and my Angel
we get this
heart
clip,
can be satisfied.
and here's what I want to talk about this clip right now. I want to talk about Sarah Michelle Gellar and the amazing actress that she is when she doesn't say a word. Watch her facial expressions in this clip. Okay, this is like why I love her so much and why I think she was just such a great actress for this part.
Relive this. cried, by the way. And
Buffy
I don't
is
cry
great.
at a lot of TV shows. That's hell, by the way.
Yep, she's sending him to hell.
I gotta like this. No, this is how Twilight ended. I think I would have liked it a lot better. There. I did.
Just watch the facial expression. This is just.
Haha, look at the CGI. It's so bad. There. I made it better for myself. Things are great. Things are happy. He comes back. Things are. I hate my life.
I know you cry every time.
Winter is cold.
And that's it.
I hate my life.
I love her expressions when she doesn't say a word. You can just feel that emotion from her. And that's how the season 2 ends. And it's depressing, and people are all like, well, what's going to happen now? So we end up getting a third season, which is probably my favorite season.
Oh, you liar. We were talking about this before the show. You trying to make me look bad to the viewers? You don't want to go with the more unpopular opinion, huh?
No. I'm going to, okay. I take it back.
Uh-huh.
If I have to choose, the upcoming season is probably my favorite season. This is the season that got me into the show. Okay, I wasn't watching Buffy from the beginning. I got into Buffy because of season 3. Okay, and I knew the show existed. I had watched a couple of episodes from time to time. I didn't really get hooked. Okay, but I'll tell you the episode that made me a super fan and got me hooked, and I ended up watching and trying to find every other episode of Buffy and watch them all in order. But
I
it's
remember,
not
I
that
think the
until
first thing I saw of this show was you watching that episode.
it really.
When I was like a kid. It was either that or Once More with Feeling.
It could have been either one.
It was. I don't remember.
But
I
it
remember
probably
watching
was-
both of them when I was little.
I watched it a lot. I watched that episode.
When we get to Once
When we-
More with Feeling, by the way, we got another story about a convention.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just reminding you now so we don't forget. But
Okay.
now, moving on. We start with Anne. We're probably the weakest premiere in the series, in my opinion. I'm gonna give my hot take. You try to cover yourself. I'm not as hot on season 3 as everyone else. I like season 3. Oh my gosh, it's so much better than season 1. Do not get me wrong. I just
Yeah, I will say
there's just something. You ever like just feel lukewarm on something? Well, no, I don't even feel lukewarm. I like it. Just but you're not as hot on it as everybody else, and you just don't know why. You're like, yes, this is brilliant. You have shown me that this is brilliant. I personally, I don't know why, but I'm just not as big on it as you. That's basically my thoughts till season 3 of Buffy.
Okay. All right.
I have to.
So in the season opener, which is kind of, but I guess you have to really have a starting point and not get into the action, because we've just ended on a really dark, ending of season 2. So season 3 is basically Buffy has moved to a different town. She's assumed the name of Anne. She's working as a waitress and in LA and avoiding everybody. So basically, it's just about getting her back from, she realizes that I think something happens at the restaurant, and she ends up realizing
I honestly don't remember.
she still has to, no matter, she can't run from who she is, which is the vampire slayer. It doesn't matter how hard she tries. And I think that that's basically how Anne, the opening for season 3, basically starts. And then she moves back to Sunnydale. Okay. And then in the third episode,
okay, here we are.
In the third episode, we get introduced to one of my favorite characters on the show, which is Faith,
who killed a man,
and she didn't care. Yeah, Eliza Dushku. That's an inside joke. And so Faith is introduced, and it turns out that
yes, she goes to hell to thank you, Jerome. Once again, that's what happened in premiere. She goes to hell to rescue people.
Oh, okay. I did not remember that part of it.
Isn't that someone that introduces the first evil too?
I don't know.
I remember I think so. It might have not been this one. I know it happened in season 3.
I don't know. But
you only remember one thing about season 3, and it starts with an F and ends with an H.
No, that's not the only thing. And that's not the reason why I ended up becoming a super fan of the show.
And it starts with an L, E-S, Iben. I can't spell. Willow. Be quiet. And no, the people who are like, oh, that's not till season 4. No, you'll know when we get there.
So yeah, so
E-N, A-N. I don't even know if that's right. I can't spell. Oh my gosh. I'm exposing myself.
The story is the big bad this season is the mayor.
The mayor! Literal Jerome literally coming out. Predicting our thoughts.
Yes, the mayor.
Who's great.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember what the actor's name was, but he did an amazing job on this.
You know what? The sad thing is, if he ran for office, I'd probably vote for him.
He's like a clean freak, and he wants everything neat and tidy. But his whole goal is to become a sin to this demon that's going to destroy the world.
Don't forget but he's a dad to Faith.
Yeah, he becomes Faith's sort of dad.
It's great.
So she's introduced in episode 3, and then we're going to talk about an episode that Rachel likes that I hate.
The best villain of the series, creepy as hell. Okay, I'm like loading my thoughts on all the big bads now.
I have to agree with Jerome that he's pretty much he's really good.
Yeah, as in terms of the best in the series, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Jerome. I was about to say someone else, but then I'm like, no, that's just me liking them when nobody else
Okay,
does.
Terry's popping in about Anne. And
Buffy goes to a hell dimension that people oh, that's why it's so depressing. Decades of their time, they got split out. Yeah, that's probably why I forgot.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen Anne.
And it's depressing.
So we're going to talk about Band Candy for a minute, which
Okay,
I absolutely hate.
You're incorrect. Band Candy is so fun. Candy. This is gonna be a common thing. She doesn't like any of the fun stuff. She doesn't like any of the humorous episodes. She's wrong, guys. Band Candy is the episode where they eat chocolate bars from like a school fundraiser, the adults do, and then they act like teenagers. They go back to their teenage self, and it's hilarious. You get the first inklings of Joyce and Giles, something that doesn't go anywhere, but oh my gosh, did I want it to? It's just a hilarious episode, and I had a really fun time with it. And the fact that you hate it, why do you hate it?
Wasn't that also Ethan Rain? Was he the one who made the candy?
I think so, yes.
And cursed the candy. So there's
Rain
Ethan coming back from the Halloween costume episode to this one. I believe he's the one who made the tainted candy, the cursed candy.
Yeah, well, why do you hate?
I just didn't like it. I just thought it was kind of,
why do you hate it? Like, I don't understand why you would hate it. It's fun.
I like that. I like the darker stuff better. That's all there is.
Yes. Jerome, Joyce, Giles. I wish this would have gone more. I was shipping them the whole series. I'm like, he's basically Buffy's dad. Now we got to have him get with Buffy's mom. And this episode hinted at that. But unfortunately, stuff happens where that can't be happening. So I don't want to even think about that. That's not till later when we get really depressing. Anyway, this is just me popping in to say Band Candy is great. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
And Angel's back from the dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's also another appearance of Ethan and Ripper. Yeah, Giles also goes Ripper this episode. So you're wrong. I'm right. You're incorrect. It was so cool when Giles just went all dark on everybody. It was so great.
So let's talk about Lover's Walk.
Okay, we're talking about Lover's Walk. It's highlighted on our list. We have a 11-episode list here. It's highlighted because Spike is in it, but it's also very good because at this point, Angel is back.
Mm-hmm.
Back again. And what happens is that he and Buffy are trying to do that thing that you've seen couples do where it's like, oh, we broke up, but we're just friends now. We can just be friends. And Spike has this really great speech where he just like calls them out on their BS and says, that ain't gonna work out. And I'm stupid. He has this really great speech about love and passion, and I don't remember a word of it, but I remember it was there, and it was just this is his only appearance in the season, and they brought him back most likely because of the network. It was like, what happened with Spike? Bring back Spike. So once again, this is my theory that I time traveled and I became one of the network executives pushing for that. So because I'm stupid and don't remember the whole Spike speech, I watched it before this, by the way. I just can't remember anything. It was very good episode. And it was happy. This episode was not depressing. Unlike a lot of the stuff coming up. And I always appreciate the happier episodes. And now, Mom, I gotta call you out. Why do we have 7 pictures that you downloaded dedicated to the Wish? We have 7 pictures. Why?
I think The Wish is a very important episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
For you.
It introduces Anyanka the demon.
Anya.
She becomes Anya later.
We love her. We love to see it.
She is a demon that is acting like a high school student, and she grants wishes. And she grants a wish to Cordelia that
Buffy had never come to
Buffy had never come to Sunnydale. And it shows what happened. And basically, the Master returns in this alternate universe version.
Because if he was going to take control of the Sunnydale from the Hellmouth, but Buffy was never there to stop that, so that happened.
Yeah.
So that was good continuity. I really like how this episode breaks these tropes. Can I bring up this big twist halfway through the episode now?
Sure, go ahead.
So wait. So because Buffy didn't come to Sunnydale, I keep wanting to say Riverdale, and I hate this. Bunnies.
Yes, Anya.
Yeah, if you looked at our poster, I made sure to highlight that. Our poster for the show with the albino bunny and the knife next to it, because we love this. We love Anya's fear of bunnies, but Vengeance Demon. Yes, that was the word. Vengeance Demon, which is such a cool concept, and probably something I would have become by now if they were real. All of my relationships have ended in disaster.
So yes,
but.
Go ahead.
Because Buffy's not in Sunnydale, the Master is taking over. And okay, Mom, let's get it over with. There you go.
Yes, Xander and Willow become minions to the Master.
And they are great. Both of these actors are great. I don't remember their names because I suck. But
yes, that's Nicholas Brendan and Allison Hannigan. As
just brought up Xander's actor 2 seconds ago.
And they are so good as bad vampires. And what a great episode it is. It's very dark. Buffy ends up getting killed.
Cordelia ends up getting killed, which is like, she's the one who made the wish from the other universe. She can't die, but she does.
She did.
This is just a great what if episode. It's so dark.
Yes, this what if episode. But Buffy ends up getting killed by the Master.
At the end, everybody dies.
Yep,
like everybody dies in this episode. It's so bad, and I forget, how do they get out of it? There's like something.
Giles breaks Anyanka's necklace, which is important for the episode coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So he breaks the necklace, which breaks the wish.
Uh-huh.
And
I remember how this episode ends. It's great, where she's like, "I wish Buffy." She goes back to the time to like, "I wish Buffy never come to Summerdale," and she's like trying to be like, "Done." Trying to grant, and she just doesn't understand. She's like, "Oh, done."
She's trying to grant all these wishes and can't do
it.
Wish. But yeah, so the importance of this episode is for one, the vampire Willow.
Yeah.
And
to you.
And the introduction of Anyanka. Anya.
Thank goodness she wasn't a one-off. Thank you.
And she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be a one-off character, and she comes back and ends up becoming a major character later on in future seasons. So that's pretty cool. And that's Emma Caulfield, who is just wonderful in the role. So that is The Wish. And I just wanted to spend some time on that one because I think it's an important episode for season 3. It's well, you would say it might be a one-off filler episode, but it ends up not becoming that way. It does. It does.
I like it. Even if we are considering this from a one-off filler episode, it is so good. Like, even if it is so good.
Oh, here.
On the right to the right, the Rons must have had a great insurance policy.
That's the bar where all the kids go and hang out. And
as freshmen in the earlier seasons, and it's great.
That's just
okay.
Cool.
Now we're going to talk about this episode. We weren't supposed to bring up this episode, but then when I was discussing it, she's like, "Oh, I hate this episode," and I'm like, "Well, you're wrong." Highlight to discuss the Zeppo. Another hilarious episode, and another one she hates because she doesn't have a sense of humor.
The Zeppo is basically about...
you don't get to tell everybody what the Zeppo is about. You don't understand what the Zeppo is about.
Okay.
The Zeppo is a Xander solo adventure that is basically a parody of the series. It's the series parodying itself with a grand apocalypse, and Xander is just the only one who knows about it. And it is so fun and so goofy, and I love it. And she hates it because she has no humor. She has like no sense of humor.
Well, I really don't have a sense of humor. I get, like I said, I like the darker episodes usually of this show. So, but yeah, a lot of people love the Zeppo. I just don't.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. Okay. Now we go into...
Yeah, we're going to get into a couple of episodes that actually are about the main storyline for the season, which is basically...
Faith, you killed a man. I don't care.
Yes.
You wanna like reveal the inside? Okay, so Bad Girls. Let's talk about Bad Girls first.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Bad Girls. Basically, Buffy and Faith, they start hanging out together, and Faith, is kind of rubbing off her ways are kind of rubbing off on Buffy, and they're kind of becoming kind of jerks, I guess. And so
That's
basically, at the end of the episode, Faith ends up killing,
and she doesn't care.
She ends up killing a man. A guy, I think he basically works for the mayor, if I remember correctly, and he's like his assistant or whatever, and she kills him. And here's the whole thing about Faith, you killed a man, I don't care. For every time they show, for like it's through the end of almost the whole entire season, every time they show previously on Buffy, it's always Buffy saying, Faith, you killed a man. And Faith says, I don't care. And I mean, it just became such a running joke when Brad and I first watched the series, and because you'd always watch previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And we just started like reciting it because it was like every single time it was the same clip over and over again. So even today, that's still an inside joke in the family. So we still do, one of us will just like throw the line out just any given time, Faith, you killed a man. I don't care. So that's where that comes from. It comes from the episode
Bad Girls.
Bad Girls. So
and then Consequences, where Faith's like, screw you, Buffy. I'm gonna go hang out with my demon dad now. I'm out.
Yeah.
And she basically joins the dark side.
Yeah,
it's a great relationship.
Help the mayor out. And so basically that's the split there. Faith ends up joining the wrong side of history there in Consequences.
Okay, the next one. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about now the episode that got me into Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I don't care, Jerome.
What? What did he say?
I said I don't care, Jerome.
Okay. I came across this episode by accident.
This was your first episode of Buffy.
Well, I'd seen other episodes. I'd actually seen Gingerbread before, okay? And I was like, meh on it. I was just like, oh, what is this show? Okay. And that was like season 2. But then one night I run into this episode. And this is the show that made me fall in love with this show because the writing was so key and it was so cute. And Allison Hannigan really, really rocked it in this episode, Doppelgangland, where basically something happens and
the Willow from the Wish gets
Willow from the Wish gets wished gets
transported into the canon universe.
Yes, and so the
ending of this episode. I just remember the ending of this episode is brutal. So she's just trying to get back to her own world. Is basically what's happening.
So she's like, no, she's not in her world anymore, and she's trying to figure out how to get back to the world she likes. But Anya returns in this episode. There's this great line, and I'm going to show you the scene. I picked this scene out because,
of course, because you picked the clip, so you get to show your episode.
Yeah, I am going to show. Roll the clip. Roll Doppelgangland, where Anya asks Willow to help her out with a spell. This is early on in the beginning of the
family heirloom passed down for generations. Then it was stolen from my mom's apartment.
How does the spell work?
Well, we both call on Ereshkigal, the Endless One, offer up the standard supplication, then there's a teensy temporal fold, we hope. Then I pour the sacred sand on the representation of the necklace, and Ereshkigal brings it forth from the time and place it was lost.
Cool.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Erishon Kashala Mayan.
Deprect do Tehenlo nu Erishon.
The child to the mother.
The river to the sea.
Erishon, hear my prayer.
That was... What was that?
It's not here. It's not here.
Okay, that's a little blacker than I like my art.
Don't be such a wimp.
That wasn't just some temporal fold. That was some weird hell place. I don't think you're telling me everything.
I swear I am just trying to find my necklace.
Well, did you try looking inside the sofa in hell?
Look.
That's the
I'm
line.
not gonna lie. I'm kind of with Anya on this one. When I lose stuff, I totally summon the gates of hell to get it back.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
can see you doing that, actually.
let's talk about the real reason you like this episode. I'm just gonna stop. Willow is attracted to herself. Well, vampire Willow,
Yeah, vampire.
and it's kind of great.
Yeah, it actually alludes to the fact that that Willow.
I don't know if this is accidental foreshadowing,
I don't know if it was accidental or not,
but Willow is attracted to women,
yeah,
and how it's hinted because vampire Willow seems very interested in
yeah, Vampire Willow kind of falls for real life Willow, and it's kind of creepy but interesting at the same time, and kind of alludes to the fact that Willow, makes a comment that she thinks she might be a little gay. And that comes back in season 4. So,
and then we gotta talk about how this episode ends because it's so depressing. So all this time, Vampire Willow just wants to get back home. The other episode, she gets transported back home, and then she dies.
yeah, she goes right back to the part where she dies is because she died in the wish.
And I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, but being me, I just found it depressing.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny. I just think it's like, well, she got transported right back to the time where she got taken, and she was just about to be killed, and she gets killed. So, but that's it for Vampire Willow, and the episode is very it's a lot of fun, and it's the episode that made me a huge fan of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the ending of season 3 and its significance in history, because
Columbine happened.
we're going to talk about Columbine.
I was named after someone from Columbine.
I did. I named Rachel after Rachel. Who died in Columbine.
She was the first victim.
She was the first victim of So yeah, she was the first victim in the Columbine massacre, and Rachel is actually named after her because when I was pregnant with Rachel, we were coming up with all these like weird names, and
I could have been named Pepper.
Yeah, I wanted to name her Pepper, and Brad didn't like that name, and I didn't like any of the names Brad was. And one night, I just happened to be watching. It was a documentary about the victims of Columbine, and Rachel's story really touched my heart, and I ended up naming her after Rachel from Columbine. So that's that. But the Columbine, as it appears in regard to Buffy,
Your shot, unfortunately.
Yeah, this horrible tragedy happened, and all these kids died. And so the network decided the next episode was about a possible school shooting.
Uh-huh.
So they yanked the episode. They did not show it. They did not. I don't even know if they ever showed it at all here in the States until it came back on through like cable and stuff. I don't think they ever showed this episode. I ended up watching it through. I found it through a Canadian affiliate and watched it, and that's how I got to see it.
Or was it not Your Heart Fiddly Dee back then?
I don't know.
Did you pirate it?
I did pirate it.
Your Heart Fiddly Dee.
Yeah, I did. I did pirate the episode, and also the season finale.
Oh, Jerome says calling you out. He said he did. He saw it.
You did see it. I don't know when you saw it, but I mean, they must have shown it later because they did pull it for Columbine, and they pulled the second half of the season finale, which really ticked me off. And I also had to find it later, also, because of school violence. So they were very,
I understand Earshot, but I don't. The season finale. Come on.
Yeah, they were very touchy about it because it takes place at graduation, and basically. The mayor ascends, and the whole school just basically takes over, and they all fight to.
You're not going to talk about the ending of the prom?
Oh, you can bring up the prom. Go ahead and bring up the prom.
You don't want to bring up the school protector award?
Okay, bring it up.
It made me cry. At the end, the prom, Buffy basically wants to go to prom because it's her one chance, but she gets caught up once again in this stupid ongoing plot with the mayor and demons. She got found, and she ends up coming into prom super late. But as she comes in, they award her. Because she's the one who's been saving all their lives throughout all of her time there at Sunnydale. So they made up a special award for her called the School Protector Award.
Yes,
so even though she missed her prom, the student body showed
it's
that
a very
it's a very touching.
It's
very
moment.
touching. Now you can talk about the finale.
Okay, so the finale, basically, the whole entire school decides to fight for.
Jerome says it was when they were rerunning the season that it was.
No, I'm pretty sure it was. He saw. That's when he saw Earshot.
Okay.
That's when he saw Earshot when they were rerunning the season.
Okay.
So maybe they did show it later on in the summer, and I just missed it for whatever reason. But I just knew. I was like really upset that they pulled the episodes. I understand why. Okay, but back then I was just like, why are they pulling my shows? You know, it's just like when I used to watch soap operas, and they always like would break in with like news. I'm like, please don't. You know, why are you running my show? But nevertheless, so that's what happened. Columbine happened, and it kind of messed up the ending of the ending of season 3 of Buffy. But if she never realized that because she just saw it on DVD.
What do you mean I never realized that? You complained about it like instantly when I brought up season 3.
Well, no, I'm talking about at the time. I don't. Yeah, you were born. I don't know. Were you born? Were you born during season 3?
No, I was not.
No, you were not. Okay. You were just a thought. Okay. She was just a thought during season 3. So she was not there for the whole Columbine thing. That's right, because I named you after Rachel and I was pregnant with you. So there you go.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that takes us to season 4, where they're probably their misstep in the entire.
I disagree.
7 seasons.
I like season 4.
I mean, I didn't hate
the biggest misstep in the entire thing is the finale.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Season 4, Buffy goes to college, and I mean, it starts off pretty good. I mean, usually, all the friends go off and do this. Xander does not go to college because he just gets a job working on construction, which
is valid.
Which is valid, and that makes sense. But they all go to Sunnydale High School together. Cordelia leaves. Cordelia
leaves to be on the spinoff. Angel.
Yeah, she goes to be. She goes off to
not knowing what the one who shall not be named does to her later on.
Yeah. So Cordelia's gone. We've got Willow. Come on. Willow would have gone to MIT, or she would have gone to Harvard, or she would have gone to Cornell. But she decides to stay and go to Sunnydale University for whatever reason. But we have to have Willow, so she's there. Okay, she decides that she's going to stick around. She made that decision, a conscious decision to stay. And I mean, they even discussed that because they know, people are like, why would Willow be here? She makes a decision to stay to be with Buffy and help Buffy out. So they're at Sunnydale University, or I don't think that's the real name of it, but so we get a whole season about
college.
Can
we talk about the
Yes, we can. Conditions? Why don't we go ahead and play? And we're going to play the clip from Living Conditions.
This is a very personal episode for me.
This is the second episode of the season.
Staring at me like I'm some kind of freak.
Well, actually, the worst part, I'd have to go with the demon pouring the blood down your throat.
Me too. I would vote for that too.
But that's just a dream, and this Kathy thing is real. And all she cared about was that her precious sleep had been disturbed.
I'm talking about a roommate, by the way.
It would be more productive to examine your dreams, determine their meaning.
You can read dreams? It's neat. Giles, Kathy, Kathy Giles.
He's our grown-up friend. Not in a creepy way.
Nice to meet you, Kathy.
Ditto. Maybe you can read the dream I had last night. There was like this monster, and he sat on me and he did all this stuff to me.
Stuff like scorpions and Bloody Mary minus the Mary?
That's it. How'd you know?
Well, I'm a good guesser.
Me too. And I'm guessing that you need to be on your way to class, right, Kat? Sounds like somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. And guess what? You were next to it. You know, I do need to dash. My whole schedule's off because someone kept me up all night. Well, it's been fun. Toodles. Toodles.
You know what this means?
Yes. Not only does she take my sweater, but now she has to horn in on my dreams. She is the most ever mooch. Oh, I haven't even gotten to the floss.
Buffy, focus, please.
Okay, listen. This is a very personal episode for me. I was in college. My roommates decided they didn't like me and decided to kick me out of the dorm room. Not gonna say for what, but they got me kicked out of the dorm room 1 month before graduation and made me go somewhere else. So that was fun. So I really resonate with this episode's message that roommates are horrible. All right.
Okay.
Moving
So
on.
yes. So that's Living Conditions, which is a fun episode. It's a lot of these episodes this season.
Oh, and her toenails keep growing. Because she is a demon.
Oh, look what we're bringing up.
Because my real
we'll get to Hush in a minute there. We've got a few
You bring up
episodes.
season 4. Whoa, Hush? Did someone say Hush?
Yes, we will get to Hush, but there's a couple of episodes that we need to talk about before
we have
that.
to talk about so Willow and Oz. Things have been pretty depressing for Buffy. I mean, she's had a hard time finding a call, but at least Willow and Oz are doing great.
No, Seth Green has to go make movies. He has to go. Oz has to go bye-bye. So we write a very depressing episode about how that happened, called Wild at Heart. Oz and Willow's relationship gets broken up because there's a female
werewolf. So I can call her a bitch without being.
Yes, a female
she's a female
werewolf.
dog, so I can call her a bitch.
So this one, she comes along, she kind of messes things up, and Oz leaves
because he cheats on her. But it's complicated, and it hurt my soul.
So yes, so Seth Green went on to
make movies.
I think he was going to go do one of the Austin Powers films, and I think that's why he had to leave.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, here comes Jerome.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So that takes us to we're going to talk. It's really,
we haven't brought up the guy. We're talking about the initiative, and we haven't even brought up the guy.
Let's bring up the guy.
Oh my God! Season 3. I can't believe we've done this. I'm looking at our pictures really quick. Rachel Crunch number 3. Wesley is great. Angel. We'll talk more about him when we do our eventual Angel episode. Yeah. Later in Angel. Oh.
Alexis Dennis.
So that's 3 guys that have been introduced in this little Buffy verse that
Wesley was Faith's watcher, and we didn't get to that.
We did. I can't believe it. But now we got to talk about
we're going to talk about the other guy.
Beta, Riley. We almost named our cat after this guy.
Yeah,
but not for good reasons. You want to explain why we almost named our cat after Riley?
We have a cat that has little to no personality, and we were going to name him Riley because he was milk-toast.
But my dad, her husband, vetoed it because he's lame.
So Riley. Let's talk a little bit about Riley real quick. Does Rachel? Let's talk about Riley. What
about him?
This is Marcus Blucas, I think his name is Mark Blucas. He's a nice guy, and he's with Buffy, and he's
boring.
He doesn't have any special abilities. He's not a vampire. He's not a
soldier,
demon.
But that doesn't stop him from being boring.
He is a soldier, and he's in a secret group called the Initiative, which is supposedly. Are they good? Are they bad?
They hunt monsters.
They hunt monsters. but it's really difficult to talk about. I mean, it's all black, it's black and white for them. There's no, well, this guy has a soul, so we should save him. And they're like, no, they do experiments on Spike and everything.
Oh yeah, Spike's back.
Yeah.
The network came in. We came in again, being like, "Hey." So it was good that he was in season 3. I don't know if this really happened. I'm just making up in my mind what happened. Could you bring him back to season 4? So I think the one who should not be named relented and is like main character now. Screw it. So basically, he's like, "How can I get this guy in my cast?" Right? Yeah, Riley gets married later.
Or was he married at the time? I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know if you're talking about the actor, but I know the character does. But yeah, Spike is back, and he is great. So basically what the initiative does is they put this chip in his head. They basically Clockwork Orange him. He can no longer hurt people. And this is fantastic because it means we get wonderful lines where Spike is complaining about how they don't have Weetabix in the house. And Giles is like, we don't have any Weetabix because you ate them all. And it's fantastic. So that brings me to Pangs, an episode that you don't remember at all.
I don't remember Pangs at all.
Okay, I'll tell you what you need to remember about Pangs. So there's this Native American spirit who's going around killing white people because they built on his land. And there's this whole debate about whether the spirit's in the right. And Willow, who's kind of not in the best mind state right now, is like, yeah, screw white people. And Buffy's like, I feel bad. I gotta kill him. At the end, he turns into a bear. And we get one of the best lines of the series where Spike, who's there, is like, you made a bear. And she's like, oh, and she's like, undo it. And she's like, oh. So that's great. It's just a great dynamic between the characters. It's a fun time.
And then I guess you want to talk about
and
this
then
one
something
too.
you can have a good time. Something Blue is another great episode, but she doesn't remember it or she didn't like it because she has no humor.
Yeah, Something Blue
is the one that teases.
It teases the Buffy and Spike relationship.
And I got some comments on this for later. Oh no, screw it. I'll say it now. I like it better than Buffy Angel. My opinion is correct. I'm not taking constructive criticism at this time. If you like Buffy and Angel better, you're free to that opinion. You're wrong, but you're free to it. But this is also a great episode. Willow basically tries to create a spell to make her get over Oz, who once again left to go be in movies. So, but what she does is end up making her will, basically things to be her will when she says it. Like she says Giles can't see anything and he becomes blind. He says that Xander's a demon magnet and demons are attracted to him because at this point Anya's back, which we need to bring up quickly. And then she says, because Buffy's trying to freaking out about Spike, and she's like, well, if you love him so much, how do you marry him? And so we get this really humorous episode, and it's just a fun time, and we love it. Now, Anya, I think you need to bring her up before we bring up Hush Hush.
What are we bringing back Anya up for?
Her and Xander are dating now.
Oh, yeah. So they are. Yeah, it becomes a big thing.
The wish is so important. Let me not elaborate.
Okay, so Anya and Xander
are dating now, and it's great and wonderful, and there's nothing but good things could happen from this. It's very wholesome.
Right.
Then Hush happens. This episode's not really important, so we can just skip it, right?
Hush is considered one of the best episodes, if not the best episode of the series. A lot of people argue that this and another one are probably one of the best.
Has the creepiest demons in the entire series.
Now, what is significant about this episode?
Oh, there's a lot.
So go ahead.
There is no dialogue. Well, barely any. There's some
at the beginning, but then these are the gentlemen,
and they're terrifying.
And they
take away sound and then go murder people because sound hurts them. It's creepy and it's terrifying, and I hate it. But there's some good stuff in this episode. Oh, look how fat she is. Oh, she's so fat. Let's make fun of her because I'm a loser.
Oh yes,
I'm such a big loser. Let me make fun of her weight.
Let's talk about Amber.
She's beautiful.
Let's talk about the beautiful Amber Benson and
gorgeous.
What Rachel's bringing up is Rachel's first memory of a convention. I went to MegaCon. and there was a panel. It was a summer convention, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Amber Benson was there along with Emma Caulfield and Adam Bush, and they were doing a panel basically about Buffy, and Rachel's question was actually the first one asked.
Mm-hmm. I asked,
and this is baby Rachel. She's like probably 8 or 9 at this time.
how is it different doing Once More with Feeling, which was a musical episode, compared to a normal episode? This was my question as a baby, because I don't know, I guess I was a nerd back then too. And then there's this guy. This isn't a normal panel. This isn't a normal panel where you go up and you ask your question. They had you write it on cards. So this is like, just to show you how much worse this is.
Yeah, this is.
And
really
then
bad.
there was a guy, like a screener, who like screened the questions and then asked him. And this dumbass decided to ask what question? Well, Amber Benson was there.
Yeah, they bring the question is they bring up the stupid oh gosh, the moderator asks, why is Tara so fat? I think is the question. Okay, my little kid is here at this panel, okay, at MegaCon. This question comes up. It's horrible, okay? It's embarrassing to Amber Benson. It's embarrassing to people on the panel. And we were, and all of a sudden, Emma Caulfield starts screaming at the moderator and the person who asked the question. And she's like, whoever you are, F you. And she's saying the words, okay? And I'm here, and I'm like trying to cover baby Rachel's ears,
I think we left.
We didn't leave. I wasn't going to leave that panel. I stayed for the whole thing. But I was just like, just close your ears, baby. Just close your ears.
And I was like little. I think I was like 7.
I love Amber Benson. I think she's beautiful. The thing is that she was regular weight. And a lot of the other girls on the show were very, very thin. So it made her look like,
no, she's beautiful. Don't you say that made her look.
No, I'm just saying it put what you know how they say, but the whole thing is that it was a really wrong question.
And that moderator, I don't know.
The moderator was horrible. Should never ask that question. And this was Rachel's first experience of hearing F-bombs at a panel at a convention, and little baby Rachel. So that's the thing. I love Amber Benson. I love the character of Tara. And she is
introduced this episode.
She's introduced in Hush.
Her and Willow do a little. They hold hands and do a little. She's also a witch. They hold hands and do a little spell to get rid of to help block. I think it's Buffy's the one who gets rid of the gentleman. They like help block it off. I think.
Yeah,
but it's nice. It's a nice little thing, and she becomes part of the gang afterwards, which is nice.
Yeah, we love Tara. She's great.
We're kind of over time already. So for the rest of this season, before we get to but we got to talk about new room rising.
Okay, let's talk.
Real quick. The villain of this season is trash. His name is Adam, but because I only know that because it's written here. I call him Floppy Disk Guy. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to the real main one, which is New Moon Rising. Which big deal.
Oz comes back.
He's done with his movies.
Yeah, Oz comes back for one episode. Finds out that Willow is involved with Tara, and
romantically. And this is what year?
This is in 2000. That's
a big deal.
This was a really big deal at the time. This was a very big deal to have a lesbian couple on television, and and the way that they did it was really cool because it was really just written very well, and I just. Tara and Willow just everybody. Okay, you had a thing you wanted to say about Willow and Oz.
Yes, I wanted to say
and Oz and Willow and Tara.
I don't go on social media a lot, but one of the things that I say is I have seen people who are like, well, I on a personal level prefer Oz and Willow compared to Tara and Willow, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's your thing. Then you see some people in the comments who are like, well, you're homophobic for that, and I don't think that's fair. It's a fictional relationship. Come on. 2, Oz and Willow were romantically involved at one point in the show. So you are allowed to like them more than Tara and Willow. I personally love Tara and Willow more than Oz and Willow, but I like them both. So if you like Oz and Willow more, you are not homophobic. You should be allowed to share your opinion without getting called something horrible.
Yeah.
So that's just the point I want to make, because I've seen this come up like more than once, and it's honestly a horrible trend.
I agree.
Oh, he left to go play. We're saying he wants to be in movies. I was buckling off of you.
Well, he did. He went to go do Austin Powers, and he also did Robot Chicken. So.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, my
So
brain is dead.
the whole thing about season 4 is the villains
It's awful.
They really don't. It really doesn't bring a lot to the table. The gentleman is the standout. Hush is the standout from season 4, which takes us.
We're gonna be back before dawn.
Yeah, we're gonna be back before dawn, which was a dream that they had at the Buffy had
Weird episode, David Lynch style episode.
Yeah, I actually like this episode a lot. It's called Restless. That was the season finale, and it was kind of a bizarre season finale. But it does bring back, somebody says, be back before dawn. And that is a foreshadowing to season 5, which brings up.
Oh, you want to talk about how much you hate Buffy versus Dracula, which, I mean, I don't love it, but, like, you hate this episode.
I really didn't like the season opener at all, because it's the whole it's the whole Dracula trope. They're like, well, you know, she never met Dracula. Well, they do this whole episode with Dracula, and Xander is like becomes Renfield, and I just
Jerome. Here we go.
Okay,
here we go. This is probably ready to get blasted from Manum. I love Dawn, and I'm tired of people being like, oh, she's cousin Oliver syndrome. No. Okay, look, you cannot like Dawn, fine. But saying that she's cousin Oliver syndrome, whatever, is offensive, because Dawn is a character. She is not a stereotype.
Can I just
go ahead
interrupt? Okay. Rachel saw this series many years later than I did. Okay, I was watching the show from like while it was airing. Okay, and the Dawn character comes out of nowhere, and I didn't like her.
Also, here's another reason why you're on. Yeah, Draco's Spike money, which is great and fantastic, but you don't have a sense of humor. So back to Dawn.
Okay.
I was Dawn when I watched this. I was Dawn. I related to Dawn. I like Dawn a lot. And she's more than just a one-dimensional stereotype. She is a teenage girl. She is a little sister. She has crushes on boys who are way older than her. She doesn't want her big sister embarrassing her. She's jealous about all of the time that her mom is spending on Buffy compared to her. She feels like she's not seen. She is a character. She is not cousin Oliver. So listen, you cannot like Dawn as much as you want. I'm tired of this cousin Oliver syndrome thing because it's objectively not true. I like Dawn a lot, and that's my opinion. I think she's great.
And you told me that a lot of people of your generation feel the same way.
Yes, they do. Like, if you go on message boards now, yes, they still exist, and you hear people discussing the show now, a lot of it, you're going to see a lot more Dawn positivity that you did back in the day, because people were Dawn. And I find that super interesting, especially because, and this is something I think we can all agree on, I brought up during our Star Wars episode, what's the name of that little boy who played Anakin Skywalker?
Oh my gosh, now my brain is like...
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
They gave him hate mail and said death threats. And we said, if you did that, you're a horrible human being and you're not valid. Same thing goes with Dawn. Who's the girl who plays Dawn?
Michelle Trachtenberg.
There are people who sent her hate mail because they didn't like her character and tell her to kill herself. If you are one of these people, you can stop watching and get out because you're a horrible human being. That's never okay. It will never be okay.
And
under
she was
any
circumstances.
Yeah, she was a child.
I didn't realize this had happened. I didn't realize that people sent her hate mail. That's just kind of...
Yeah, and death threats. Which, like, get over yourself. It's a character in a TV show.
And she is the key to season 5.
The key to season 5. Oh, thanks, Jerome. Really wanted to bring that up. So, we're just going to bring it, instead of going episode by episode, because this is a little wonky, I think we should bring up certain points that happen. Except for Fool for Love. Fool for Love is episode 7. We get a Spike backstory. It's one of the best episodes of the season, and she doesn't like it because she's stupid. Anyway, let's bring up let's just Jake Lloyd, Jerome.
Thank you
once again.
Thank you.
Let's just get that. We're gonna go a little out of order here. Let's get the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Let's just do the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Joyce dies.
Buffy's mom dies.
And it isn't from a demon or a vampire.
She has a brain tumor.
And she dies.
And she dies of a
causes.
Yeah, she has a cerebral hemorrhage. They took out the tumor. They thought everything was going to be fine. Buffy walks in the house
and finds her dead on the couch.
And this episode is brutal.
This episode is the darkest episode in the series and the most raw, emotional. There's no music in this episode.
There's no score. They do this with no score.
It is. I didn't know how to feel. Like when I watched this as a stupid teenager, I just didn't know how to feel. I was like in shell shock. Like I didn't know how to process something like the body.
Yeah,
the body was not media. The body was not entertainment. The body was not fantasy. The body was real, and it hit me so hard.
Play that clip. We got a clip to play.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, Terry. Michelle Trachtenberg was great as Dawn. It gave another dimension to the show, another worry for our characters to face when patrolling. Thank you, Terry. I'm not alone, and that makes me happy. Now, but let's talk about the body real quick before we show this clip, because the clip is a little. All the characters react to Dawn's death in a different way.
Joyce's death.
Joyce's death. I'm sorry. We got me on Dawn. Joyce's death. So, all the characters react to this in a different way. Willow is freaking out. This is the first time that her and Tara kiss, by the way, on a more positive note. And it's great because I think the network was like against that.
Yeah, they were.
And they just did it in this episode. That's a little fun. Tara is a little more out of the loop because she's new. She's the new one. So she's not as close to Joyce as everybody else. Of course, Buffy's having out. And there's this horrible scene. Well, not horrible, but like emotionally horrible scene where you just cut to Dawn in school. And then like the teacher just comes up and is like, "Hey, Dawn, your sister's here." And Dawn's just like, "Oh gosh, she's embarrassing me." So she goes out to see her sister, and we get this view of just her from the classroom windows. We hear no dialogue. We know what she's saying. And Dawn just breaks down about her mom's death. And it's so raw, so much. But the one that I think people overlook the most is the clip we're going to show is Anya's reaction.
Yeah, okay. Remember that Anya is a demon.
She has lived for a long time.
And she doesn't
understand
the human condition. So she's that one that makes everybody uncomfortable in the room here.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Well, I guess we're gonna meet them at the morgue. That's where they were taking her.
Are we going to see the body?
What?
Are we going to be in the room with the dead body?
I don't know. No?
Are they going to cut the body open?
Oh my God. Would you just stop talking? Just shut your mouth. Please.
What am I doing?
How can you act like that?
Am I supposed to be changing my clothes a lot? I mean, is that the helpful thing to do?
Guys.
The way you behave.
Well, nobody will tell me.
Because it's not okay for you to be asking these things.
But I don't understand. I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid. It's mortal and stupid. And Xander's crying and not talking, and I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch, ever, and she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever, and no one will explain to me why.
This episode just has great performances from the entire cast of the show. It's a whirlwind.
Yeah. Very emotional.
Back to the main plot of the happier notes. Glory! A lot of people don't like Glory. She's our main villain of this series. And she's after the key, which ends up being Dawn.
And she's a god.
She's a god. But she's also a valley girl. And I love her. I love Glory. She is so fun, and I don't get why people don't like her. Okay, what's just having fun? Like, she just tried to... She's trying to take over control of the show, and she's failing miserably, by the way. That's what's happening behind closed doors here. But I love Glory. She's fun. And I don't understand why people just don't... I was trying to avoid it.
You were trying to avoid it? We talked about this before
And I
the
said,
show. She's like, I'm not going to talk about this episode.
So I'm just going to bring it up. But Spike builds a robot Buffy to fuck her. No, I'm just going to go with it. No, that about sums up my thoughts on that. And I don't know how I feel about the situation. Moving on, because he has a crush on her. Moving on.
Okay.
So Glory's great, and you're wrong if you don't like her. And then there's the gift, where you're going to stick a fist on because she's the key. And Buffy, because she has the same blood, same as going to sacrifice herself instead. And you hate this episode. Explain to me why you're dumb, please.
I didn't like this episode. This was the 100th episode of Buffy, and it was supposed to be the final. This was going to be the final season of Buffy. Season 5 was going to be the final season. And
yes. It's Jerome, stop bringing it up. We know.
So, yes. So it's
going to be the final season.
Buffy ends up sacrificing her life at the end of the episode to save the world and to save her sister, because she doesn't want her. It was either going to be her sister or her, and she did not want her sister getting thrown into the cataclysm. So she does it herself. She jumps off and dies. And so that's how the series was going to end. And
you don't like that very much.
No, I didn't. There's a gravestone. There it is. Buffy Ann Summers. She was 20 years old. Beloved sister, devoted friend. She saved the world a lot. That's
the image the show is supposed to end on. But thankfully, it didn't.
No, it went to the WB.
It
moved from UPN to the WB.
Beautiful episode. And the fact that you don't like it, I don't understand.
So we end up getting the best season.
I'm not going to die at the stake for season 5. I think it's highly underrated, but I'm not going to die at the stake for it. The one that I will die at the stake for, season 6 is the best season of the show.
And I agree.
And I was so surprised because I think it's considered one of the worst seasons of the show.
When this season came out, my husband and I watched it, and he absolutely hated it. He hated Buffy's PTSD depression when she gets
brought back to life.
Brought back
because
from heaven.
They yanked her out of heaven.
And so she's got a little bit of, she's a little bit, not happy about that. She wanted just to be done. And it might say something maybe about Sarah Michelle Gellar. Maybe she was ready to be done too. And they're like, here's some money. Come back for a little bit. What are we wrong about?
What are we wrong about, Jerome?
What?
Oh, season 6 being the best?
Oh, that's probably what.
Oh, well, you're wrong, Jerome. Because this season has a lot of things I like. The Buffy PTSD storyline is something I have never seen in media ever. I don't know if I've just not seen a lot of stuff. But the idea of bringing their main character back to life, but having it be technically a bad thing because you drag them out of heaven and having to deal with the repercussions of that, that's great storytelling. This has the scariest villain in all of Buffy, which I will fight to the death with you about. It's one of the most terrifying episodes in all of Buffy, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, we were talking about this tonight. I was kind of surprised by what she had to say.
Also, it's Dark Willow, which is the last 3 eepisodes of the season. All
4. Yep.
Great.
And we deal with
I think I was in heaven and ripped out by my friends. Brutal line. It's just, I've never seen anything like that when I watch this. And I don't think I have in anything else. It's just a storyline that doesn't get told.
Right. Well, and so they did tell it in this season. And also they deal with Willow has an addiction
to magic.
And I think it's really cool how they did an addiction story. It's supposed to be like drugs, but they, instead of drugs, they use magic. And then she goes to like this dirty, like spell house, and there's this nasty like guy there. And she like just like becomes so addicted to doing magic that it becomes a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. And then Terry brings up she's been in some hell dimension, being tormented by God knows what. You know, if that was what they went with the storyline, where that she was in hell.
Quote. That's an actual
yes, I know,
quote,
I know.
yeah.
And if that's what
Yeah.
they had gone with the storyline,
Yeah.
where she was actually in hell, I don't think I would think of this season as fondly as I do now. But the fact that she was in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
that was wow to me, because that's not as easily fixed. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's in hell. Okay, it's gonna take her a while to get over it, but that's something that's fixable.
But
having your friends rip you out from your paradise,
yeah,
that's something we got to talk about.
And that's and she actually doesn't tell anybody this except for Spike.
And this is where Buffy gets going. Can we talk about the thing now?
Are we going to talk about Once More with Feeling?
Yes. This is also a potential for one of the first Buffy episodes I've ever seen. Because I remember as a kid, I remember watching Doppelgangland, and I remember you watching Once More with Feeling. I don't know which one was first, but I remember it best episode of the show. Okay, I love Hush, but this one takes the cake for me.
Yeah, Once More with Feeling is the musical episode.
And so much happens.
And you were a little over a year old when it came out. It aired on November 6th, 2001. The music in this was so lit that I actually took a tape recorder. Yes, I took a cassette player, because they still existed at that time. I still owned one. And I recorded the entire soundtrack from the television to the cassette tape, and then listened to it in my car like every day, and learned all the lyrics to all the songs. And it's just
what's your favorite song?
It's hard to say. It depends on my mood what
Same,
my favorite
honestly.
song is.
I literally go through
every
all of
song in this episode is really, really good. I mean, it's incredible. You have a love song, you have a dance number, you've got you got a rock. Spike rocks it out with the song, and they put a lot of work into this episode to make it happen.
Which one's your favorite right now? You can't cheat us out.
Okay. My favorite song right now, which has been my favorite song for probably a while, is the final. Well,
really?
Is the final?
I brought this up. I was so sure.
No, I love this song. Okay,
I thought it was gonna be Under Your Spell.
I listen to that song a lot.
But it's Give Me Something.
Give me something to sing about. I love that. I watched it so many times. If you watched that song so many times, you'll see there's a scene where Amber Benson accidentally, when she does her turn, runs into one of the pylons in the back, and you see her laugh for just like a split second.
Oh, Terry coming in with the I died so many years ago. Yeah, that one right now, it's a battle in my head. I can't choose between Rest in Peace and Walk Through the Fire.
Walk Through the Fire is just
Walk
great.
Through the Fire is just great, but they're all so good. They're all so good. How did this happen? They're all so good. This never happens. Usually, there's one song in a musical that you're like, skip.
Usually, if you watch a musical episode of a show, you cringe a little bit. It can be cringy, but it did not happen with this one.
It is so good, and so much happens. Willow and Tara break up because of actual legitimate relationship problems. There's no soap opera garbage, misunderstanding. No, Willow did a horrible, terrible thing by erasing Tara's memories, which is actually more impactful because in the previous season, Glory
had messed with her
head. So the fact that her girlfriend would do the same thing really hits her.
Yeah, so there's a lot of turning points in this episode with them breaking up and Giles deciding to leave, because he thinks he can do no more for Buffy, that he's been a mentor and he's shown her all he can, and it's time for him to go back to England. So he leaves too. So he leaves and Tara leaves.
And then Buffy and Spike get together, which my little teenage heart was like, oh yay, only good things can come from this. Good things did not come from this.
But yeah, so that's Once More with Feeling. We're not playing any of the songs because
we don't want to get copyrighted.
We know we'd get copyrighted right away. So we decided not to do that. We were going to sing them, but we'll spare you that.
Okay. Other things, brief episodes we gotta bring them. The one episode of this series this season that I absolutely hate with a burning passion is Hell's Bells, because why you have to do this to Anya and Xander? This was unnecessary. I'm all for the darkness, but why? Why couldn't they be happy?
Yeah, I was upset. They were going to get married, and they end up not getting married. And it's because old Xander comes to the wedding and basically says this marriage this marriage ain't gonna work. Just you need to end it.
This season is very depressing.
So they split up, and that is sad.
All right, now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna defend them. The trio, consisting of the three nerds, Jonathan, Andrew, and Warren. I like them. People hate them. This is the same thing with Glory. People hate them, but I think even more so than Glory. People are just kind of lukewarm on Glory. People downright hate these three. And one, okay, I like how you made 3 established characters. This is the first thing I like. 2, I think they're fun up until a point. The point where I knew that I was going to not love them, but where I knew something was going to happen with me emotionally is the episode where they just decided to take over Sunnydale. Okay? They just decide, yo, let's take over Sunnydale, lol. And this leads up somewhere in this. They end up kidnapping a girl and plan on making them her sex slave. Now, a lot of you are probably like, whoa. And Jonathan and Andrew, 2 of these 3 nerds, are like, whoa, too. Like, you can't really do that. Well, Andrew's more on the fence than Jonathan. But this ends up with Warren, the 3rd one, who I'll be talking about a lot, killing her. And he just tries to pin the blame on Buffy. I knew something was happening with this. Because I got like a little chill from that, believe it or not. Because, I don't know, that whole scene was just it did something to me. I don't want to say dark or real or disturbing. It just, disturbing is a good answer. If any of those 3. And it hit me. And this is where I would like to bring up something, probably my most unpopular opinion in the entire show. Warner is the most terrifying villain this show has ever had. Because people like him exist in the real world. And it is terrifying. So what happens is Buffy, they have their moment. They defeat the bad guys. Yay, the trio was done. But she doesn't kill them because, of course, Buffy, good girl, good guys. And then you get the episode Seeing Red. A lot of stuff happens this episode. But Spike tries to rape Buffy, which we will get back to. But the thing that happens is after they're defeated, Warren decides, no, I'm not going to let that bitch defeat me. So he goes to where they're just chilling out. Willow and Tara just chilling out in the home. Mm-hmm. She goes to Buffy's house, right?
Yeah, he goes to her home.
Her home. And Xander and Buffy are just talking outside. And he pulls up with a gun and just starts shooting. He shoots Buffy, and a straight bullet lands on Tara, killing her. And her last words are, your shirt, when she sees the blood from herself, from the bullet that went through her, hit on Willow's shirt, and then she dies. And Warner just runs away. And I don't, Warren.
Yeah.
And that hit me. Because that is so real. You got all these demons and monsters and vampires, and it's like, okay, these don't exist in the real world. They're just fantasy. People like Warren exist. People with no morals, no being, basically. Just soulless people do exist. And tragedies like this happen all the time. So I think this gave me nightmares back in the day.
Did it really?
Yeah, Tara's death gave me nightmares. It was terrifying, and I will always go for broke on this. A fantastic villain. I have never felt more fear in this show than I did when he just pulled up with the gun in front of Xander and Buffy. And Buffy, because Buffy's like our main heroine, right? But she's not bulletproof. And it's something as little as a gun can... It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's just terrifying. And you told me when I discussed it with you pre-show that you never considered this. You never thought of it.
I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that the one villain that Rachel would find the scariest on Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a human being.
So Dark Willow.
So yeah.
So because but Willow wasn't very happy that this guy killed
the
her girlfriend.
So the whole thing about Willow through the whole season is that she's abusing magic, and when she's trying to get better and she's trying to be, and this sets her off. This makes her just totally decide that she's going to become evil and destroy the world. And so the last 4 episodes of the season is about Willow out to get revenge against the Warren and the the trio. She's going to kill them.
Can I make a point?
Sure.
The first person she ends up killing is Warren. And you would expect everything I just said for me to be like, whoa, go Willow! But the way they present it with her skinning him and the inside out is disgusting. So I think they did a great job of making you, because you're not supposed to root for her. They had to make the balance. You hate this guy. You want him to die.
And then when he dies,
you're like, instead of like, woo, you're like, oh. So they did a good job of making, because you're not supposed to like Dark Willow. And I think a lot of that carries over with Andrew and Jonathan, who, yes, have also done awful things, but they were not actively involved in Tara's death at all.
Yeah.
They did that behind their backs. They were like, dude, we're done. She got us. And Warren went out on his own and is like, no. I'm gonna take this gun and I'm gonna go.
So Buffy ends up protecting the 2 guys, trying to protect the 2 guys from Willow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, the people that she's been against this whole season, she ends up having to try to save them from Willow trying to kill them. And so Willow just decides that the world just needs to end. And basically, the last episode of this season is called Grave. And basically, Willow is trying to destroy the world. Buffy doesn't have a really big part in this episode. It's Xander. Xander is the hero. You know, once again, he's the one who did CPR and saved Buffy's life in season 1, and he ends up saving the world. And we're going to show a clip from the end of Grave.
If I can get to it. There we go.
You can't stop this.
Yeah, I get that. It's just, where else am I gonna go? You've been my best friend my whole life. We're all gonna end. Where else would I want to be?
Is this the master plan? You're gonna stop me by telling me you love me?
Well, I was gonna walk you off a cliff and hand you an anvil, but it seemed kind of cartoony.
Still making jokes.
I'm not joking. I know you're in pain. I can't imagine the pain you're in. And I know you're about to do something apocalyptically evil and stupid. And hey, I still want to hang. You're Willow.
Don't call me that.
The first day of kindergarten, you cried because you broke the yellow crayon. And you're too afraid to tell anyone. You've come pretty far. Ending the world, not a terrific notion. But the thing is, yeah, I love you. I love crayon breaky Willow, and I love scary veiny Willow. So if I'm going out, it's here. If you want to kill the world, well, then start with me. I've earned that.
You think I won't?
It doesn't matter. I'll still love you.
Shut up.
I love you. I love you.
Shut up!
I love you, Willow.
Stop!
I love you.
Stop!
This scene is so good, man. Because this is so weird. Because even though when people are in pain, they don't become evil witches who can destroy the world. But they do lash out.
Yeah.
Like Willow was doing there. And Xander shows the best way to deal with that is to just be there. Be supportive. Be like, be with them no matter what's going on. It's just great. This season is great. This season is so good, man.
And then we get to the last
worst season.
Yeah. Rachel and I both agree on this, that season 7...
Not very good. Listen, it would be so much better. Just why do we have all these potentials? These characters we don't know. Can we focus on our characters that we've grown to know for,
Yeah, I mean, I guess what happened also is, I think everybody found out this was the last season. Sarah Michelle Gellar was just like, I'm done, I'm quitting. And people found out through different ways, I guess. And it was really kind of weird. But this season is,
we're not going to discuss it that much.
We're not going to spend a lot of time on it.
I got positives.
Okay.
They fixed Spike and Buffy, so I can actively say I ship them now.
Oh yeah,
without it being toxic as horror.
Spike ends up getting
He's
soul.
Getting a soul at the end of it, and I'm like, you have my curiosity. Now you have my attention. So I'm gonna bring up what I brought up with Angel.
Okay.
Like 2 hours ago. People are all like, oh, but Angelus is different from Angel, so I can still love Angel without liking Angelus. Easy. People don't do the same thing for Spike. Spike is a very divisive character because of the whole, attempting to rape Buffy thing. But here's the thing. I don't like hypocrisy very much. If you are one of those people who are like, Angelus and Angel are the same person, and therefore we have to judge Angel based on Angelus's actions, your opinion about Spike is perfectly valid if you don't like him for raping Buffy. However, if you are one of those people who are like, Angel and Angelus are separate, so it got you, but you're still like, oh, but Spike tried to rape Buffy. He has a soul now. And Angel has a soul. You can't judge that. Can you judge the actions of the vampire without a soul on the vampire with a soul or not? Are they two separate characters, basically?
This was your whole point 2 hours ago.
This was my whole point. Because I don't like that hypocrisy. I see it as the way, I am one of those people who are like, Angel and Angelus are separate. But I also think the same thing of Spike. Spike in season 7 is a completely different character from Spike in the rest of the series.
Okay.
He's going through a lot because he just got a soul and is now, I killed a lot of people. I tried to rape the woman that I care about. Oh no. Great point. And now, the other thing that I like, because I'm going to bring, this is a more minor one. But you know what? People don't bring it up. And I like going for characters that not a lot of people like. Andrew. Andrew from the previous season comes back. I sort of just kind of there with the Scoobies. And he's a lot of fun. There's an episode called Storyteller where he goes around making a documentary about like the Scoobies' lives. And
it's a good episode.
And it's fun.
Probably one of the better episodes of the season.
And I like Andrew. Even though he kills Jonathan, which we can forgive him for that because Jonathan was the one I wanted. But I can forgive him. The third thing, the first evil is a great concept.
It is a good concept.
I love in the first episode where the first evil goes through all of the big bads of the season.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And it is fantastic because the first evil can basically turn into dead people. And it's a great concept. Yeah. On with the negatives. Oh, wait, I got one more positive. That episode where Dawn thinks that she might be a potential who could turn into a Slayer, and it turns out she's not. And then her and Xander have a great conversation about being the normal people.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
There you go. Now, I'm done with the positives.
The episode potential.
The rest of the season kind of seems lackluster. It's kind of lackluster in comparison.
Yeah, I really don't like the fact that there's all these girls, these Slayer potentials hanging out. I do have to... I'm going to make a couple of notes here, casting notes, because, Rachel didn't want me to bring this up. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring up the casting notes. I'm going to bring them up. Nathan Fillion, there you go, of Firefly Serenity Castle. Yes, he's on there as Caleb, the evil priest. So he's there, and I wanted to bring up, and I think you might have gotten rid of the photo. Rachel deleted a bunch of these photos before we started. So the other one was Felicia Day. Felicia Day is one of the potentials, and I love Felicia Day. And this is like one of her first starting roles. So I just want to make those 2 casting notes. Rachel, you can return, please.
Moving on to the finale. It's trash. Okay, maybe that's a little too harsh. They kill off Anya for no reason. We have another story about the one who shall not be named.
And okay,
Nathan, who is this man?
Okay, that you I've met him. Okay, he was in Firefly. I don't think you've watched it. Serenity, you haven't watched it. Castle, you've had to have seen it in passing because it was on. Christopher and I
watched some episodes.
Yeah, he was Castle. Okay.
Oh.
So that's
who did he play?
He played Castle.
On this show.
He played the evil priest Caleb.
Yeah, he was terrifying. He's scary. He made Xander lose an eye.
Yes, he did.
Now
Xander ends up losing an eye.
We gotta talk about the one who shall not be named one more time and what he did to poor Anya.
Yeah, but before we do that, do we want to play the clip with Buffy real quick? Because Buffy has this speech to these potentials right before everything goes down. And the reason why I picked it out is because it kind of like it's like a bookend to the beginning of the show. Okay, so let's play that.
Generation. One Slayer is born. Because a bunch of men who died thousands of years ago made up that rule. They were powerful men. This woman is more powerful than all of them combined. So I say we change the rule. I say my power should be our power. Tomorrow, Willow will use the essence of this scythe to change our destiny. From now on, every girl in the world who might be a Slayer will be a Slayer. Every girl who could have the power will have the power. Can stand up, will stand up. Slayers. Every one of us. Make your choice. Are you ready to be strong?
It's great. This is the most mixed bag finale already. Because you get stuff like that, which is like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then you get stuff like Anya's death, which is like, what? Why did that happen? That kind of came out of nowhere.
So Emma Caulfield, when we were at this convention, told a story about what happened with her death. She went to the person that won't be named and said, I really think it would be a good bookend for my character, because of the whole thing with Joyce, that she dies. And so she dies, but it happens so fast on screen and you don't even get a memorable, oh, Anya's dead moment. It's just Xander's like running around and he's like looks for her, and then when he can't find her, he just runs out, and then he says, "Oh, she didn't make it." Like they throw off her death as like not a big deal, and that is kind of a big deal. It was upsetting to Emma Caulfield the way it was written, and I think the fans of Anya really thought it was a low blow for the ending of such a really cool character.
Also, Spike dies, but he comes back. He gets better. Because they're not killing off Spike.
So Spike is the one who actually saves the day, right?
Yeah, he does. What a great conclusion to his character arc. He's been trying to get better all season. And at the end, he becomes a good person finally.
And sacrifices himself to save the world.
And you end with the shot.
This is the ending shot where the Hellmouth is a big crater in the earth and no more Sunnydale. It's gone. And they just that's the end of it. The end. Bye. And that's how you end season 7. Now, I mean, if you ended it at season 5 where Buffy died, that would have been a better ending.
I like the way it ended, actually.
But you would have never had season 6.
They purposely made it vague. The ending vague so fans could write their own continuations. I think I've read that somewhere.
Oh, really?
They left it vague and open-ended so that
you do have the comic, which I did try to read some of. And there's this talk about the new Buffy coming up.
Oh my god, it sounds horrible.
The premise just made me cringe. There's been talk for a couple of years now about rebooting Buffy, which I don't think they should, and I really wish they wouldn't, and I hope that they don't. And the whole premise right now is that all the potential Slayers end up getting killed, and Buffy loses her memory, and then there's this new Slayer girl. And that's supposedly the premise, and I don't know
it feels like fanfic.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I've read that. I read that
feels like a self-insert fan fiction.
I just don't know. I don't know about that. But what I do know is that 25 years ago, there was a show about a girl who became a vampire slayer who just wanted to be a normal girl. And she never really got her wish. She had to learn how to deal with life and what life handed her. And we got 7 seasons, a lot of great episodes and a lot of great memories. And I'm really grateful for that. I mean, this is a show that I think will be around for a long time. I think it speaks to the human condition in a lot of ways.
It's a fantastic show, and it's timeless. That's the word I'm looking for, because this show came out before I was born. And so some of those early stuff about technology is outdated, but otherwise, like, I loved it. Completely.
I think it's the stories, the
stories being told that are so impactful.
You identify with Dawn, okay?
I identify with Dawn.
And your generation really identifies with her, okay? So that brings that to the table. We're us old fuddy-duddies who were watching it at the time. We're like, nah, Dawn. I actually ended up liking her better in the season 6 and 7. But I did have the cousin Oliver vibes.
Wrong.
In season 5, and I didn't like season 5, but nevertheless, that doesn't put anything against Michelle Trachtenberg. She was a great actress. She did a great job, and Buffy is timeless. Once more with feeling, I've seen it performed live at many conventions. If there's ever a convention that has it, I make sure to go, and we all sing along, and there's always a packed crowd, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I think it's going to be around for the next generation and the next generation. I just hope it doesn't get messed up, down the line. But who knows? Maybe the reboot will be good.
No. Anyway.
But we want to thank you all for sticking with us.
For 2 hours and 17 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, so
this went out for quite a bit.
But this was something we really wanted to discuss in depth. It's a show that's
very special to my heart, to her heart.
Yeah.
And next time we're also discussing something that's kind of special to my heart. We're doing Nickelodeon shows, the old Nicktoons that I grew up with. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, please stay tuned for that, because that'll be a lot of fun. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up this year. And just stick with us, and see us in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.